Every once in a while, you play a game that just thinking about it gets your blood rushing. You get incredibly excited and filled with a barrage of emotions. This is one of those games. Before we dive into Yakuza Like a Dragon, I want to give you guys a quick intro to the series. These games are crime dramas about the Yakuza, which if you don't know is the Japanese mafia. And the story is all about the dark, gritty, and realistic underworld of the Yakuza, and is surrounded by very serious tones. Death, corruption, shareholder meetings, not Mario Kart, exams about random topics, not falling asleep at the movie theater, and the most dreadful of all, karaoke. But seriously, these games can be super serious and dark, and they are amazing crime dramas with some really powerful and emotional moments. But at the same time, it has some really hilarious moments that can be found in a lot of the side missions and mini-games. It never feels out of place with the tones of the main story. Now, this is the 7th game in the series and the furthest in the timeline. So I don't entirely recommend this as your first game in the series because they mention and make reference to the other games. But I only played Yakuza 0 and Kiwami before this and still enjoyed my time without feeling confused. You may spoil yourself on certain more minor aspects. Yakuza Like a Dragon plays very differently from the rest of the series, and was intended for new players to be able to enjoy it. So you don't have to play Yakuza 0 to 6 to enjoy this game. But this series is great and I highly recommend you play them. And I think Like a Dragon is a great place for new players to the series. Like a Dragon may not be for everyone because of its turn-based RPG gameplay, especially compared to the rest of the series' beat-em-up gameplay. The turn-based combat is still very engaging with quick-time button prompts, and unlike an RPG, you can mostly mash through the fights and they don't often require too much strategy. But a lot of it reminds me of a mix of Persona 5 and Earthbound of sorts. Which reminds me, the reason that this game is an RPG is because Ichiban is a Dragon Quest fan, and when he fights, he pretends he's a hero from Dragon Quest, so he lets his opponents take turns like an RPG. That may not be the reason it was created for this game, but that's how they explain it and make it make sense. Ichiban is an amazing character. He is very different from Kiryu, who is more quiet and serious and brooding. Ichiban is outgoing and charismatic. The two protagonists are very different, but at the same time very similar. Ichiban has a bright outlook on life and believes very deeply in friendship, and he's just a really funny and likable character. I'm certain it's almost impossible to dislike him. As the game goes on, you meet many characters, and some who will join you in your party, just like an RPG. Your main cast of characters are all amazing, and each has their own strong personality that adds a great amount of diversity to the party, making for some hilarious and very interesting interactions. When walking around the city, you will run into prompts for your party to have a conversation, which will raise their bonds and can give them and your party bonus features and unlock new jobs. The funny side stories and mini-games is what a lot of people come to the Yakuza series for. But in the end, they stay for the story, and Yakuza Like a Dragon is no exception to another amazing Yakuza story. I won't go in depth for the story as you should experience all its powerful twists and emotional turns for yourself. The story can be a little confusing at times because of the convoluted politics of the Yakuza, but they often reiterate or mention something again that makes it more clear to understand. I really enjoyed the story all the way up to the end. And I can't say I expected it to end the way it did, and I almost thought it was going to end way earlier, but I'm really happy that it didn't, and it made for a really long story, but very worthwhile, and it felt like it left like no loose ends, and that's amazing. There is so much to do, so many mini games, So many side missions, it's amazing. You ever wanted to play a shareholder meeting minigame inside of a business side mission? Now you can! There's karaoke, literally entire Sega arcade games, batting practice, golf, Dragon Kart, which is 10,000% not Mario Kart, Mahjong, and so many more. But we don't have time to talk about them. Point is, there is a lot of minigames. This game has so much to do. It can be overwhelming, and to a certain extent, really reminds me of Persona 5 because of the amount of content in this game. Sega is just really good at this format of like almost semi-open world with so much content, minigames, and stuff to do. Each character can have a job, which works like a class in your usual RPG, but they are very different. Instead of your usual mage, you have a homeless man, or for your healer, you have a Japanese idol. You can change everyone's classes and level them to gain new abilities, and switch around the jobs as you see fit to optimize your party to its maximum potential. You can work as a part-time hero collecting bugs for people, bringing them toilet paper, and saving them from thugs, or this guy. Oh hey, I don't have that Sujimon in my Suji decks. And yes, this game is making a reference to Pokemon and or Digimon. Did I mention this series has an amazing sense of humor? And is full of references and jokes like this the whole time. Ijincho is filled to the brim with things to do. And it almost made me feel like there was no end in sight for things you can do in this game. This game has been one of my favorite experiences, not just in the series, but in gaming as a whole. Every moment I played was enjoyable, and I found myself having to tear the controller out of my hand. You play in a small city, and even though it's just a small city, the possibilities of what you can do feel endless. I'm still yet to 100% this game, and I normally never want to do that. But with this game, I feel the need to. Everything about this game drew me in, from the characters, to the story, to the side content, with quality on par of an entire game. It's not every day that you play a game filled to the brim with so much emotion and enjoyment. This game is what it means to be a game, one of the most powerful mediums out there. Not many other games can have such raw and powerful moments, leaving you on the edge of your seat, and at the same time be so fun and quirky and hilarious without tampering with this game's beautiful storytelling. The Yakuza series is amazing and definitely worth diving into, but Yakuza Like a Dragon is an absolute must-play and will certainly be worth your time. I give Yakuza Like a Dragon 10 pizza slices out of 10. Now, this is a pepperoni pizza with extra pepperoni, and not everyone may like it, but what the hell, it's pepperoni! Well, with that being said, it's time to end this video the only way I know how.
Almost done.